Hello folks, and welcome to Multi-21's Assetto Corsa GT Round 2. We are just getting ready to finish qualifying. Let's take a look at on track. We're currently in the seat with Mr. Cool. Here's Steve. Whiting, 1989. Yura. Cara Marley. And our own Captain Slow sitting in the pit. Apologies, I'm all very new to Assetto Corsa spectator mode, so if you'll bear with me for a moment. I'm going to get these camera settings to where this actually shows you all the race. Here we go. So we are currently at Circuit of the Americas in lovely Austin, Texas, actually closer to the little town of Bastrop. And it is about 70 minutes from where I am currently sitting in San Antonio, Texas. Captain Slow's out on the track now, putting in his time. So before we get started, let's take a look at the calendar for this season. We've already passed race number 1. That was at Imola. And here we have last week's results. You can see Whiting 1989 took the win, going away with a 26.5 second lead on Steve. And Carl Marley rounded out the podium positions. Very tight race for second position. Just less than 0.3 of a second separating the two. And apologies once more for the late start. And a few slight issues getting the server set up, but it looks like we are ready to roll quite soon. So Steve's best lap is a 2:10. So Craig, Mr. Cool, at a 2:12.7. Carl Marley hasn't put in a rapid time just yet. Yours at a 2:10.5. And Whiting, 1989, so far has the best time with a 2:08.5. Just 4 more minutes till qualifying is finished. So, Circuit of the Americas, one of the longer tracks on the Formula One circuit. I don't have the exact figures in front of me, but having been there a couple of times, I can tell you the track's over 3 miles long. Quite a fun track to visit, particularly for a Formula One race. It draws enormous crowds for the entire weekend. Even on the Thursday when the event starts, you'll see a lot of people milling about. On qualifying day, it's shoulder to shoulder, and on race day, it's absolute madness. If you don't get there early, you're going to find yourself standing on a hill someplace behind thousands of people, jumping up and down, hoping you get a glimpse of one or the other corners. At the end of the race, there's a hill on turn 1, and at the end of the race, the folks on turn 1, where probably the bulk of the spectators are, people will run down the hill at the end and clamber through a very tight little gate to collect clag and walk the course. And you can collect a lot of marbles. Don't know if that's your bag, but if it is, bring a Dixie cup along. You'll get all you need. So, Circuit of the Americas, COTA is what we all know it by, has been around since 2012, so it's quite a young course. One of the great things about COTA is it's not just used for racing, it also is host to a lot of concerts. And Austin being a big music city, it's a great place to go see a show. The shows are held at a gigantic stage. Actually, there are several stages, but there's one stage in particular that accommodates very large bands, and it has a huge open area for people to stand and sit in. And you see some really great acts, a lot of country acts, but some rock and roll. There's also a soccer stadium that adjoins it, and the Austin Bold Football Club plays there. When you go to the track, you can see it. It's pretty prominent, and it seats about 5,000 people. All right, 4 seconds until qualifying is done. And Whiting 1989 put in his best lap, a 2:07.9. And it does appear that he is going to get pole. He's actually running a better lap at the moment than his best. If he can keep it up, he should be 2/10 to the good of his last lap. No, he hit a 2:11. Oh, pardon me, that was his last lap. I'm going to apologize in advance. Assetto Corsa is not something I am that familiar with, so you're going to get what you get. But we are working on it, and I promise you folks they're going to get better and better from here. Looks like most of our drivers are back in the pits. They're finished with their fast laps. Most of them are very close together time-wise. 2:10s, 2:11s. And that's it. We have Whiting on the pole with a 2:07.9. Carl Marley following. 2.5 seconds back. Steve 986. A little over 2.5 seconds back. Urasemic. A little over 2.5 seconds back. Mr. Cool 4 seconds back. Spiffy G's not racing, that's me. And Captain Slow has not posted a time. So, session's over. Let's get ready to race. Right. As everybody gets their vehicles set up and sorted out, we have about a minute and a half before the beginning of the race. The race will last 50 minutes. Should be an exciting one. All right. Changing cameras, just want to make sure that my car didn't somehow end up on the field. Make sure that spectator mode is working. As I said before, this is all very new to me. But we are going to persevere. We're going to get through this thing. And hopefully it will be a wonderful race. So this beautiful track sits on 890 acres of undeveloped land, previously undeveloped land in Travis County, Texas, home to Austin and Austin city limits and the South by Southwest Festival. It's a beautiful town, one of the fastest growing cities in America. And here we go. It'll be a rolling start. When the cars get up to the lights, the race will be on. Cars will sort out 2 by 2, coming up the front straight. Just now. And just before they head up the hill, the green lights will come on and the drivers will take off. Come to the line. Lights out. Green, green, green. Here we go. Whiting 1989 gets up to the corner, gets the inside line, hits the apex. Carl Marley goes wide, like 2 others. Everybody's back on track. So Whiting gets 2 car lengths on Steve. But Steve seems to be gaining. Whiting gets a really good shot through the tight corners. These are tricky S's. The radii changes. Every time you hit a corner, you hit a different radius. Now as they're coming up to the hairpin on the far end of the track, we've got our 3 leaders. Oh, Steve bumps Whiting. Gets too late on the brakes and gives Whiting a nice little push. Fortunately, all drivers are still on track. Doesn't look like there's any damage to his car. So we're going to continue on. And Steve wisely backed out and let Whiting have that position back. As did all the other drivers, no doubt trying to avoid a concertina-type collision. And here in the back, we've got Justin in P6, still pretty close to the rest of the field. Whiting still in the lead. Down in 5th. And who's going off track? That's going to be Mr. Cool, Craig. So Captain Slow is going to pass him up. And Steve has spun. Let's see what happened here. Yeah, it looks like Carl Marley's taking the lead here. No, Steve's in the lead now. Okay, apologies. We still have Whiting in the lead. Captain Slow has made his way up to 3rd position after that rumble in the jungle. Steve's still holding 2nd position. Craig Mr. Cool has gone all the way back to 5th and is many, many car lengths behind 4th position. Carl's got 6. Right on Craig's tail. Craig's getting wide, and that's giving Carl an opportunity to get past. Craig is really struggling with that car. Yours in 4th position. Gaining on Captain Slow. Having to go gingerly around that hairpin. Now we're heading down the front straight again across the main grandstand. Start finish line and up the steep, steep hill in turn 1. If you're looking for a good place to sit at Circuit of the Americas, this is it, right here. This is where so much of the action happens. See a lot of cars go wide, lots of bumping, nudging. Great place to watch the race. And here through the S's, particularly if you're watching a Formula One race, it's a real sight to see. The cars go through so quickly. And it's a very difficult set of turns to get right. As we get inside of Whiting's car. Sparse interior. And Whiting is safely in the lead. Nobody stalking him. Adjusting with the controller. Notice the wheels getting sawed a little bit. It's going to be working with controllers. Challenging thing to do in a set of Corsa, to be sure. Justin's in the process of mastering that. And Steve is in 2nd place. Nice gap forward and aft. His last lap was a 2:21. And he just put in a best of 2:10.5, which about matches his qualifying lap, best qualifying lap. Carl Marley's put in a 2:11.3. And Craig a 2:11.8 after that series of mishaps. So Craig seems to be getting it back on track. Good lad. Euro's got a 2:11.9. He's putting in some nice times. He's great through this gnarly set of curves. As you can see, there are a lot of little elevation changes here, so you have to be ready from apex to apex. You see a sudden or up or downhill. That can really affect your braking. Very challenging track. Lots and lots of fun to watch a race here. So we got Mr. Cool gaining on Carl, who seems to be gaining on Yura. Yeah, let's get on Euro. So now we've got a slipstream train coming along the main straight, heading up the hill into turn 1. And now Carl is getting right on Euro. Craig has faded just a little bit. We'll see how things shake out through these S's. Hits the apex nice and tight. Carl's putting in a really good racing line. Meanwhile, Yura is staying steady, holding on to that last podium position. And Carl is putting in a 2:09.7, great lap. Craig's got a 2:10.3, another great lap. And Steve is just having his way with second place. There's nobody around him. With 39 minutes to go on this tricky track, anything can still happen. Here's Justin with his last lap is a 2:19. We don't see a best lap yet, so we're probably experiencing some track limits issues. Nevertheless, he is persevering, hitting his apexes nicely. Let's get inside the car. And watch how he takes charge of that controller. Hits that one nice and tight. Just really having to saw away at it. This is a difficult game to drive with a wheel. Difficult enough. Imagine if it sticks. It's a bit more of a challenge. And Steve puts in a 2:10.0 for his last lap. Craig puts in a 2:12 for his last lap. And Carl is now putting down some great times. 2:10.1 versus a 2:10.3 for Euro, so he has gained 0.2 of a second. And is working on getting right up to his bumper. Let's see how that slipstream works for him. And creeping ever closer. Meanwhile, Whiting has dropped down to 2:08.8, best lap of the race. As he approaches the start-finish line with nobody in his rear view. And Justin's now dropped to 2:16, so his lap times are getting better. Let's see if this one counts. No, he must have exceeded track limits. His last recorded time was a 2:10. Craig's last was a 2:13.5. Mr. Cool seems to be having his challenges. But it is a beautiful car that we can all enjoy. And of course that color green is a great choice for a Brit. Carl Marley just doing the best he can. He's getting the slipstream, but he can't seem to pick up another car lane. Let's stay on board with Carl. He's putting down great lap times. There's the famous tower. If you have a nice fat bank account, you're welcome to climb up those stairs, take the elevator, and get a bird's eye view of the entire track. And down the front straight with about a 10-car lead comes Jura up the hill. They are matching approximately as far as lap times go. Carl's not letting him out of his sight. Oh, Jura makes a mistake, and Carly shoots through. Jura was having a little bit of trouble getting through those S's. With those elevation changes and tight corners, it's a challenge for anybody, even as somebody as talented as Jura. So the NSX slips through for now. And Jura in the Ferrari has decided to not make it easy. Meanwhile, we have Mr. Cool out by himself. Wide gap in both directions. Steve, same situation in second. Same situation for Justin, with his last lap being 2:17. Whiting with the 2:08.7. It's his best lap. And now the pits are open. Let's see who pits first. So Jura continues to lose ground to Carl. Carl seems to have discovered the secret of that NSX. As he gets through those wild S's about perfectly, just clipping every apex. Not showing any signs of trouble with the tight corners, the changing radii, and the changing elevations. It just continues to pull away. Both are mid-engine cars, both probably handle in a similar fashion. The Ferrari, if I know anything about that car, is a little bit more tricky to drive. Some people love them, some people hate them. Ura seems to be fine with it, but even Ura has had his challenges with this car, especially in that series of corners. So do we have anybody in the pits at this point? Yes. Justin has gone in for tire change. Splash of fuel. He is dropped and done, ready to roll. Here comes Whiting, running his own race in clean air. Just going to get my screen adjusted. Make myself a little bit more comfortable and enjoy this race. Boy, there isn't a car in sight. I think Whiting's got himself about a 2-mile lead right now. Or about 4.2 kilometers, take your pick. And Ura is dropping back even further. Maybe time for a tire change. As Carl extends that lead. Drops down to 2:10.6 for his last lap. And Ura drops down to 2:12.3, almost a 2-second gap. And Ura is definitely having trouble keeping that car on. Just struggling for grip. Carl, meantime, is just cutting through the track in that NSX. He seems to have found his rhythm. I know that you can't really do much with the liveries in the ACC, but I have to say that livery on Ura's car is fantastic. He picked a real nice one for that Ferrari. Not sure what the number 51 signifies on his car. Perhaps aliens in Roswell. And Whiting's out all by his lonesome. Enjoying the view. Getting every bit of speed, power, and handling that you can get out of that Ferrari. Some people just know how to drive them. He does seem to be having a little bit of challenge with the grip. He's not quite clipping the apexes the way he was. It's going a little bit wide. Seems to be a fair amount of understeer now. And you must be listening, Whiting, because you just executed those last two corners perfectly, and that one. As he comes to the start-finish line, let's see what he's put down. Thanks for the flash of the lights. Looking good. And puts it at 209. And meanwhile, Captain Slow on his out lap. Fresh set of tires. Motor's looking good. Very hopeful that ACC is going to have a custom livery option in a new release. Hasn't happened so far. And to their credit, they seem to be more interested in great physics than challenging racing. So fair play. But still, us old video gamers who remember the good old days, we like to be able to play with our liveries. All right. Yura, Steve.
We are halfway through. Keep pushing.
Both in the pits. Carl's still on track. And Steve's out. Mr. Cool and Yura still getting a tire change. And Craig's out. Yura's just dropped. Now he's out. So, interesting turn of events here. As we now have Carl Marley in second place, thanks to the pit changes. Yura comes out in fifth. And Whiting finally comes in for his pit stop. So Yura drops to P5, Carl up to P2, Craig still in P4, actually up to P4, and Steve has gone back to third position. So lots of separation between cars now. Carl comes around that bend, around turn 12. Passes the tower. Gets to the penultimate corner. And into the pits. So Carl takes his turn. Oh, Steve goes wide. That will negate his lap time. Approaches straight. And Craig gets to the penultimate corner. Hits the apex, nice and solid. It's a good exit. Drops at 313 on his out lap. And Steve dropped at 311 on his out lap. Nicely done. Got 2 seconds. Right. So here we go. That hard braking zone into the farthest part of the track. Tight hairpin. Another fun place to sit when you're at the track. If you're high in the grandstands, you can see both sides of the track. And that is a good overtaking spot for some talented drivers. And Justin dropped a 217. So his best lap. Whiting's last lap was a 2:15. That was not his out lap. He may have had some issues. As he goes to turn. It's a great exit. Up the hill. Goes wide. Cuts tight. Clips the edge of the curve. Let's watch him go through this run. This is a fast boy right here. Just lots and lots of throttle modulation. Just little taps of the brake here and there. There's a hard one to get him through that tight turn. Goes hard on the brakes just briefly enough to get the car slowed down and rotated. And on into this medium length straight. Hard on the brakes around the 50-meter marker board. Tighten to the apex, being very careful not to hit that sausage. It's set at a peak and will really upset the car if you get too close. Now with the long back straight, hitting maximum speed. It's just almost perfectly flat here. Now a slight downhill into a very tight turn. On to 12. It's another really good spot to sit in right here. You're sitting up height, so the whole back stretch. Those seats ain't cheap. And it's just across the start-finish line. His last lap was a 2:15. So we're getting faster. And Steve's dropped to 2:09.8. His last lap, 2:10.3 is not bad. Mr. Cool gets a little wobbly. Sticks to it. And Carl is going gingerly around that corner. He's finished his out lap. Taking it nice and wide for this next turn. It's a tight one.
Pit window is now closed.
So everybody's done with their pit stops for now. We continue on with 17 minutes to go. The current time on track is 7:41 p.m., which means the sun's about to go down. So being Austin, Texas, you can expect a lovely sunset. Meanwhile, Steve's still comfortably in second place. Justin holding down sixth position. Whiting just running away from the pack. He dropped another 2:08. And Whiting is getting ready to lap Justin. Find an opening. And Justin goes a little bit wide. Oh, sparks coming off Whiting's car. He hit the sausage. That has really upset that car. Ferrari did not like it. Maybe he was checking his watch. See what time the sun was going down. I don't think your watch runs that fast, buddy. This is going about as fast as a day on Mercury. It's already 8:01 p.m. The sun is down. It's dusk. And a little thank you flash from Whiting as Captain Slow lets him by. Thank you very much. Well done, very sporting. So Ura has captured third position and made it all his own. Carl's now down to fifth, and seems to be struggling around these corners. Not sure what's going on with that Honda. And he seems to have found his footing. Nicely done through the S's. A perfect racing line. Let's see how he approaches this apex. This tight hairpin. Always just avoiding that high sausage. Smart move. You do not want to get into that rip your car to shreds. I have seen pieces fly off of Formula 1 cars there. Actually saw a driver lose the lane there once. That was... You're comfortably in third position. And Whiting all out by himself. Have a nice little Wednesday evening drive. Checking out the sights, enjoying the sunset. In the far apex of the one of the tightest corners on the track, if not the tightest corner. I have seen people on the infield there. I don't know how anybody got brave enough to make that journey to that part of the infield, but probably a fun spot to watch the race. Lots of cameras there. And here is Ura taking the tight S's. It's just a carnival ride going through here. They do have track days, so if you're ever in Austin and you want to have a fun track day and you just happen to rent a sports car or one of your own that you keep in a garage nearby, you come out and check it out. It's a lot of fun. And Captain Slow drops another 217, this time 217.0. 2097 for Steve's best lap. And Ura is holding down the final podium position in that Testarossa Rosa. Here we go. It's clouding up in Austin a little bit. Will there be rain? No, because Texas is in a year-long drought. Here's a 20-inch rain deficit. I think we'll be fine. as Jura crosses. Doesn't show up last lap time, so just had a bit of an off somewhere. Oh, spins it out of the turn. Got too deep. Tried to correct. Hit a low spot in the track. You see a lot of cars go around there. If you get in too tight, you've got the wheel whipped around, and it'll spin you. But after that little bobble, he's looking real good through the S's. And this thing is a roller coaster ride. It is a really fun track to take a lap around. Whether sim or IRL. It's the hairpin. This is that nasty sleeping policeman. With his knife out. Oh, what happened there? It was interesting. Whiting puts down a 2:08.4 for his best lap, so he's getting faster and faster. Captain Slow's dropped to 2:16.5. Good on you. And Steve is the closest to Whiting here time-wise with 2:09.5, and that was his last lap, also his best lap. So Steve is looking very solid indeed. And Mr. Cool gets up on Carl Marley. What has happened, folks? Mr. Cool is trying the under-over? No, the over-under. He's going to try the under-over, maybe. Doesn't seem to be able to get past him. Oh, he is keeping it close. We've got ourselves a race within a race. Well, something has happened with Carl. Just as soon as I figure out how the replay works here, I'll have to go back and take a look at what happened. Although, to be honest, friends, it's probably not going to happen in this race. So what has happened to Carl in fourth place? Let's see, his last lap was a 2:13.2. Certainly not even close to his best. Carl has stretched it to about 4 car lengths. Let's see how he does in the S's. Craig's keeping him honest. They come into a hard braking zone. Craig brakes a little bit later. That takes him wide around. Let's see how his exit turns out. Doesn't gain him any space. Gap remains roughly the same. Mr. Cool trying to stay in that slip. Carl Marley. Let's go inside and have a look here. Oh, he struggles and hits the wall. Hits the wall. Damages the car. Oh my goodness. And that puts him back in the pits. That car was wrecked. Unfortunate. He was having a great race. Well, let's see if Craig can get that car sorted out. That is very unfortunate because it was probably the most exciting, at least this half of the race, most exciting part that we've seen. Oh my goodness, that is unfortunate. Oh, Carl buzzes through. On up the hill in fourth position all by himself. Craig's still in the pit with, I'm sure, a great deal of damage to take care of. As Steve in second position, laps Captain Slow. And Justin Wisely barely steps out of his racing line to give him position. Boy, you gotta love that McLaren. Ah, goodness. If Bruce McLaren were alive to see that, he would be over the moon. The lines on that car are epic. It's just takes the apex perfectly. Stays on the racing line. Just a little bit of a minor adjustment. There's a little bit of a slide. Good speed out of the corner. Craig's still in the pits. And this may be where he stays. I don't know how bad that damage is, but I'm expecting it to be quite significant. He went straight into the wall at a pretty fair clip. And Whiting puts down another best lap. 2:08.4. I should say another great lap. And here's Jura comfortably in third position. All out there in space. Carl all by himself down the front straight. So we're going to jump from car to car. Let's see who's listening. Steve, if you're listening, flash your lights. Justin, if you're listening, you can do it. Flash your lights. How about Whiting? Are you hearing me? You can flash your lights at the start finish. Thank you, sir. Who else we got? Yura? You give me a flash, Yura? No, looking good in third position, though. Here comes Carl. Get a good head of steam in this section of the track. Oh boy, it's a little too much curve. Upsets the car a little bit, but doesn't make him break traction too much. Well done. Another tricky section of track. That square corner. It's nice and wide so you can clip the apex coming around the tower. So he's putting in beautiful racing lines with that NSX. Unfortunately, I can't see the tire wear, the view that I have. But it doesn't look like he's getting too much understeer. And that mid-engine car, if you master it, you can really make it rotate the way you want to and make some dazzling turns. And Craig's still in the pits with just 140 to go. It looks like Craig has finished his race. Well done up until that point. It's very unfortunate what happened, but it was a great race until that point.
Right, man. Leader is on the final lap. Give it all you can.
And as we hit the final lap, Whiting comfortably out in front. Drops a 2:08.7 his last lap. Keeping it consistent. Those 2:08s. Just carving up those corners, that Ferrari. Not even the commentator's curse can slow him down. And just carves up those S's like a hot knife through butter. It's wide, hard on the brakes, lots of downshifting. Avoids that apex like a smart boy. And down the back straight. Just push it to the gunnels. Past the pits. It's taking it nice and easy. It gets past turn 12. Rounds the tower. Past the back end of the garages. And through the final turn down the front straight onto victory.
The leader has finished the race.
Well done, Whiting. Great race. Beautifully done. Beautifully done indeed. Nice going. As Steve comes on up in P2. Coming past the garages. And Steve has had a terrific race. On down the front stretch. To the start finish. Nice little flash of the lights. Well done, Steve. P2. As the fireworks go off, here comes Jura. Around the garages. Through the penultimate turn. Onto the final straight. Jura coming up to P3. Nice flash to the lights. And P3 for Jura Cermak. Excuse me. Well done. Great race. And here comes Carl. Carl had some great battles tonight. Great battles indeed. And Carl gives us a little dance past the flag stand. Great race, Carl. Well done. So here's your final results. Whiting 1989 P1, Steve 986 P2, Jura Cermak P3, Carl Marley in the Honda tried to get that podium position. Made a great effort, couldn't quite swing it. P4, Captain Slow in P5. Craig Porter, Mr. Cool, with that unfortunate accident, had a great race up until that point, gets P6. And your genial host, Spiffy G, comes in dead last because I'm unfortunately behind the microphone and couldn't enjoy this cool race except as a spectator. But y'all, thanks very much for a terrific event. Really loved my inaugural venture into Assetto Corsa Competizione as a commentator and spectator. Looking forward to getting it done again and having an even better result next time. So for all of us here at Multi-21, I'd like to thank you for joining us. Please come back for our next live stream, which will be the Gran Turismo 7 Group 3 100 lap race, and that's tomorrow. Good night, everybody.